what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen.
Hey everybody, Martin Chuck here. Welcome. We'll let the people fill into the seminar and we'll get started. Have some fun with you all. Appreciate you taking time out to watch.
Great to be here with you, Martin.
Peter, as always, buddy. Great to be with you.
We had a very hectic golf school season, so we missed a month.
Yeah, I was a little worn out, to be honest with you. You know, March and April that's when most people from the northern United States grow weary of their cold months in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. And I'm lucky enough they come down and see me. So we had a very, very busy couple of months, and this week marks our last golf school of the 2020-21 season. So very blessed that even despite COVID, we had a great turnout from those folks that were, you know, vaccinated and felt comfortable coming out and social distancing on the driving range, letting me yell at them for 3 days. So that was fun. Yeah,
well, basically, we're coming into our winter, so you're coming into your warm summer, so you'll probably go north for the summer, don't you?
I do, and I'm going to flash my tan line here, so you're going to see some really white legs and some dark calves there. Sorry if I blinded anybody on your computer screen right there. I apologize. So I tell you what, let's get people want to learn. Let's get started. You know, Peter said, Martin, you're in charge, so I'm going to. Chris Beckett, thank you for putting this together. Peter Croker has been a longtime dear friend of mine for years. I met him, I want to say it was in the mid-90s, maybe 97-ish, Southern California. I went to a seminar, and Peter put the seminar on. And it was one of those eye-opening experiences from a teacher who had acquired a lot of knowledge and is a truth seeker of the game. And he helped me develop my skills quite a bit. I had some great coaches prior to Peter, and I consider Peter a coach of mine and a mentor of mine. So I'm thrilled to be on here with him and Chris to share some stuff that I think will help you process things and apply it to your game so you can strike the golf ball a little bit more solid and have a little bit more fun. After all, that's the goal. So Chris, why don't you put up we're doing faults and fixes today, and let's get right to it.
All right, so I'm sure everyone here has some kind of fault and they would like some kind of fix, okay?
Amen.
So if you understand the fault and understand how to fix it, it's a big stepping stone in enjoying your golf more and, of course, lower scores, which is our intention as coaches to help you. So basically, we're going to be discussing some faults and fixes. And let's just have a look at a couple of them, and then I'll hand it back to you guys. So a classic fault with, I'd say, most golfers is the outside in slice shot or the outside in pull shot. Now, slightly differences, but let's hand it back to you guys and take it away.
You know, so it's I'll jump. Oops, dropping my clubs. I'll jump on this one. You know, we see all kinds of paths that cut across the target line. So the target line, obviously, a straight path to either the middle of the fairway, a conservative place on the green, perhaps the pin if the pin is in a conservative place on the green. And, you know, obviously what we see with my Frisbee here, but I'll talk about that later. The situation when a path gets over the top, we see the golf club approaching the golf ball from a steep place. And from there, you know, that typically we're going to have a friction event that cuts across the golf ball. The golf ball is going to get, you know, squirt out to right field and have some spin on it. And when we have a path, usually when I have a path that's going this way, the student has figured out to reward themselves for an open face. And what I mean by that is if they have a poor grip and the face gets wide open and they're coming down to the golf ball with a wide open face and they have a decent path, the ball is going to start right into my wall over there where I've got a nice picture of Ben Hogan on the wall. So what do people do? They go ahead and reroute that open face buy themselves time. They back out of the shot, buy themselves time to give themselves a chance to square the face to hit it. And what you get is a wide variety of where the ball starts and usually ends up in some kind of a slice. So, you know, I love the way Peter talks about how people put hands on the club properly, because you've got to get your hands on in a manner. I mean, you don't have to have a perfect grip, but let's be honest. If you have a perfect grip, so many things are easier. If you have a really poor grip, then you have to do different accommodations to make the club face work in a fraction of amount of time from the top of the swing back down to the golf ball. So, Peter, kicking it over to you, you know, that open face, over the top behavior, you know, helps those people that lose the ball to the right start the ball a bit more to the left. So how do you help your students get started with just a beautiful pair of hands? And I love the way you do this. So let me kick it over to you, buddy.
Okay, well, looking at the grip, what's the most important thing about the grip is the relationship of the left wrist, the top hand on the club, to the grip of the club. A lot of golfers initially grab the club a bit too much in the palm, and then their wrist is more or less in front of the grip. So we call that a weak grip. So when they do get into a natural position, the club face will be open. So the first thing to be aware of is to put the left wrist right on top of the grip in a shake hands position. You need to have a bit of a bend in the wrist. That's a flat wrist, that's a bent wrist. So you want the wrist to start off with a little bit of a bend. And when you grip the club, you want to grip it basically across the roots of the fingers. You don't want to be up in the palm. So by having it down there across the fingers, then you really got control of the club. And that's the first, that allows you now to control the club face. So your wrist is on top, and that now gives you much more control of a square club face. When your wrist tends to be in front, the tendency is the club face will open up, and therefore the ball is going to have a tendency to go to the right. And then you start trying to overcorrect it by swinging on the right path, on an outside-in path, I should say. So bottom line is there is the left-hand position. The top hand is really critical. So once it's on, what will happen, if you understand that the next thing is, a lot of people think that they want the club face to go down the target line. So instead of having the club face go towards the target, in golf, the real swing has an opening door, closed door approach. So there's what we call a release. And your hand naturally wants, when your grip's good, it's a natural release. The toe of the club wants to go over. That's the way that the balance in the club, it wants to twist. It doesn't want to hold square. And your hand, if you throw it down, it naturally would go this way. It doesn't go this way. So if you just go with the natural move, once you've got the good grip, the club face wants to close. So I think for someone that's slicing the ball, definitely you have to get rid of the idea of making the club face go to the player. You must allow the toe to go. So we say the toe of the club, which is here, we want the toe to go first through the ball. And so that comes up, and that then leads to the path. And I think this is where we got the cover of Golf Digest way back in '95, was giving people permission to throw the club head at the ball. So instead of going down the target line to hit the ball straight, you actually have to throw the club head down and out. And this little drill here is really a great drill to stop people coming to pull it over the top. And it's from the top, have a practice swing from back here, just training your hands to make the club shaft go in line with the lead arm, not out of line.
Right, right.
And definitely not pulling. If you pull, the body turn brings you outside, and then you're outside in. So you have to be able to throw. And we say you throw and go.
Yeah, no, I love it, Peter. I think I even have, it's fascinating. You know, in my golf school, I think the average age is 60-year-old. And when I talk about people needing a little bit more behavior of the golf club working away from them, they go, well, isn't that casting? And I say, no, it's not casting. I said the folks that have open faces that get over the top, they're trying to back out and buy time, and then their hands wind up being behind the golf ball when they hit it, and they hit weak, glancing strikes. So, you know, your way of saying the wrist joint needs to be on top of the grip, I tell you what, I bet you if I had a nickel for every time that I've readjusted somebody's lead wrist to get it on top of their grip, that is so many nickels. Oh, I'd still do videos with you, but I'd be on my jet doing them, okay? But this is a situation where people, they grip the club out of comfort rather than function, because they set the club on the ground, they put their hands on it, and that feels comfortable, and comfortable must be good. And I think you would agree with me that in time, when you do things correctly, having certainty becomes comfortable. Knowing that the golf club, the club face is in a place where we feel as a high-level striker, and you're an excellent striker, in that when your hands are on properly, the club face is organized, and that is comfortable. It may not be comfortable for the newbie, and for the coaches watching this, and for any golfers out there that feel like they, quote, can't get through a golf shot, because I hear that all the time, Martin, I don't get through it. And I would say to those golfers that said they don't get through it, I would say to them, it's not that you don't get through it, it's that you're not prepared leading up into it. Because if the face is open late, the only thing you can do is kind of hang back to give yourself any kind of chance to flash the face closed and hit some kind of shot that goes into play. And then usually you'll feel your weight hang back, and then you'll say, well, I didn't get through the ball. And I'll say, well, you know what? If you got through the ball, you wouldn't like where the ball went. So you're doing what you need to do based on that grip and hand relationship. So circling back to your awesome drill that you taught me 25 years ago, you know what I really like to have people do, Peter? I like to have them get an inexpensive Frisbee, because this little feeling of once they get their wrist joint on top of the grip and they take a Frisbee, and this is just a tiny light one, it's not a fancy one at all, and it was a giveaway at some Toll Brothers homes, some home thing we went to. This sensation, and this really helps from down the line, this little action, A to B, getting the club head to go down and out toward the golf ball, gets the golf club low enough so that any kind of the rotation kicks the club inside out to hit a shot, rather than, like you'd said, any kind of handle pulling stands the club up and creates a slowdown motion, a powerless motion where the person has to reroute the golf club to have any success. And we see that all the time. I'd way rather see a very simple A to B motion on this side-on game we play that helps people strike nice shots, that they can hit solid shots and hit draws.
What we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen, great to be with you. Peter, it's a pleasure, pal. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, thanks, Martin, and it will be great to be here. Just a little mention there, Martin has probably the #1 golf school in Arizona. There are a lot of golf schools there, but you've been rated #1, so that's nice.
Thank you.
Nice to be in your school today. Okay.